guys, another YouTube clip. This one's about thinking, aphantasia and thinking. It might seem not a strange thing to put with it, but why does it matter, or why does it make a difference? Well, imagine it this way. If you were going to build a computer and it was going to need to do everything that a person can do, and you said, additionally, what it's going to have to do is think about images, play sounds, have random thoughts, and all that was going to go on as well as to do everything that's right in front of you. It would have to be a lot more powerful to do all those things as well. So when we're thinking as someone with aphantasia, we potentially have got more capacity to do things. That's a leap of knowledge from my part. Not a leap of knowledge, more of a theory, but I can't prove it. So I talk about it to try and understand it. Say, well, is it true? Because not all theories are true. You've got to remember this. When something's a theory, it is a theory. You can't prove it, and it may not be right. What I've just said might be completely wrong. But if it's not doing all those things, like processing images, recalling sounds and other things, what is it doing? I've covered this slightly before, but you do tend to think about this when you're someone that can't do it. You do tend to think, well, what's my brain doing then? And it does mean, I suppose, with aphantasia, I live more for the now, as some other people have expressed it with the condition. You live for that moment, that instant. And I do like solving problems, thinking problems. I don't mean like a crossword. I mean, in my day job, I'm an engineer, and people give me things to say, well, to solve, and say, well, we need to do this. And you think, well, how are we going to do that? We didn't do it yesterday, something new, we've got to think how to do it. So I suppose part of what my brain can do as me is think of things as problems and solve them through a process which isn't visual, it isn't sound-based, but it's something else. So I can solve things in a way which doesn't require the normal processes that if you ask people and said, well, how do you solve something? They'll say, oh, images pop in my head. Well, I can't do that. So it does mean that my thinking is different. Now, I'd really like to explore how it's different and understand why that difference matters, because I'm sure it does. And I'm sure it's a clue to how people will perceive this in the future. But at the moment, I don't know enough to understand and express how it's different. So all I'm going to do at the moment is ask the questions. Now, I've mentioned, wrote a book on aphantasia. It's like this is, it's not a scientific book, although there is some references to the science in it, and it has a foreword from the professor, Adam Zeman. It really does present questions and answers that some of us have expressed ourselves, and trying to think and express, what do we know, how do we understand it? So for me, this is part of the process of learning and helping others, because some things I say, people will take and explore and understand better and build on that knowledge. In the same way I've done, I've taken what Professor Adam Zeman's done, things other people have done, and learnt from them. So I think sharing this kind of stuff's good, which is why I did the YouTube channel. I wanted to share this stuff because I feel there's no platform for it, really. I mean, if you type in aphantasia, you're going to get not much information in terms of people's opinions. You might get people that have got it, that share it. There's a new YouTube that's worth watching by Amy. That kind of stuff is valuable because it means people think about it and try and understand it. And the more they understand it, the more it helps people that maybe don't cope as well with what they've got as a condition. and also help the scientists evolve it more into a subject which they can use to help other people, not with the condition, but with abilities that we might not understand yet, like if they can't process things in the same way. So I suppose I'm always keen to learn more and understand more. So if you take a chance and you look at some of the YouTube clips I've done, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to help myself and others understand this thing that we have, that we may not really understand, but I think there's a benefit in learning more for all of us, and to share it, because I think as a child, and as I said, sat at school not really understanding why I couldn't do certain things that I would expect others to do. Now I wouldn't have beat myself up so much for not being able to do it. You think, okay, I can do some things, I can't do others. I think knowing that now would be really helpful to me as a child growing up again. I would know what my limitations were, and it's not to use them as limitations, but use them as the potential of my ability. So it's the other way round. It's not to say, oh, I can't do that, so I won't do that. I say, well, I understand that. If I did it this way, I could solve it. In the way I solve problems now, I think I would use it to help my schooling, except it took me longer to understand that I needed to do that. I think, again, being dyslexic doesn't help that, but it answers the questions that I would have had as a child of, why can't I learn like others do? Why don't I understand like others do? I didn't think I was any different. Now I understand what the variations are. It's much easier for me to learn and understand than it would have been before. Anyway, that's thoughts for today.